Hi, and welcome to Freshwaves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. Today is New Year's Eve. We are heading into 2024. I can't imagine when I was a young kid thinking about living in the year 2024, but here we are. It's going to be a fabulous year. For this New Year's Eve, I thought I'd bring on a regular guest and, hey, the technical producer of Fresh Waves, your friend and mine, Jason Rumball. Hey, Jay, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you also, Bren. Always good to chat with you and great to be back as a guest on Fresh Waves.
Well, I hope you and your family had a fabulous Christmas.
We sure did. Our first Christmas together. I'm going to talk about coming off a big 2023. I was kind of surprised that, I was going to be moving to Toronto of all places. And it's something I've been, thinking about for a while. And I was involved in this program called the Gauge Transition to Independent Living. And so I did that for about 5 months. And for almost 5 months now, I'll be living on my own at another place downtown Toronto. But also my sister and brother-in-law, they got a condo down in Toronto. So they moved down to Toronto, and so it happens that she lives, 5 minutes away. So we celebrated our first Christmas in Toronto on Christmas Day. So it was really cool to do that. And
wow,
yeah, been quite the 2023, for the whole family. So.
Yeah, well, I know for all the listeners who don't know, you are on dialysis. So did you have to change your dialysis from, I think you were going to Richmond Hill at one point, or Oak Ridges?
Yeah, I was going to the Oak Ridges. And then I moved to Yonge and Davisville for the Gauge program. And the closest hospital is Sunnybrook. So I went to the CNIB building just south of the hospital there. And so I was there doing that.
I've heard that that's one of the nicest dialysis units.
It is. It was very nice. It was, even better than, like, the Oak Ridges one is pretty good. But, this one was, one of the newest and very nice one there. So
tell us a little bit about the Gauge program. That sounds really interesting.
It is. It's a program that helps persons with physical disabilities to gain the skills to live on their own, whether it's, learning how to do laundry and cooking and how to, manage your money and, just getting around the city on your own and that sort of thing. But also one of the goals of this program was to find your own place to live. And they said there's, no guarantees that you'll find a place. I mean, the program was supposed to be for a year, and I was, I got lucky and found a place within 5 months. But, some people, they don't find a place. So they ask you, do you have a place to go after this program's done if you can't find a place? And I said, yeah, it's sure I'd move in with my sister. But now the condo where she's living now, there's only just the 2 bedrooms there. They're my sister and brother-in-law's bedroom and bedroom for Lana. So, so I just wonder what would happen. But it turns out that I was able to, find a place and move on, to my own place 5 minutes away down in downtown Toronto area. And
well, you were on a waiting list for quite a while for that apartment, weren't you?
I was. And
like 7 years or something like that.
7 years. It's quite the long waiting list.
My goodness, the housing crisis in this city is just out of control. And people who, the majority of people who just go about their day don't even realize the housing crisis that we're in right now. For someone like you with a disability to be on a list and waiting for 7 years for a place is ridiculous. I know of a man who is virtually homeless, and the offer that he got after 2 years on the waiting list for an apartment, the offer he got from, they don't call it welfare anymore, they call it Ontario Works, was we can offer you a place in a shelter or a tent.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's encouraging in Ontario in December.
It is, yeah. Yeah, we're not living in Florida where you could, probably live in a tent all year round, but it's pretty cold up here. So
yeah, the housing crisis is ridiculous. So 7 years of waiting, and you finally got your own apartment. Wow, 2023 was a stellar year for you.
It was, and I applied to this place thinking, oh, maybe I might not get it, and then I think because within a couple of weeks of applying, they called me back and they said, "Do you still want this apartment? It's available if you want it." And I said, "Sure, why not?" And it just happened to be accessible. Like one of the features I was looking at for the washroom was grab bar, so it makes it easier to get in and out of the shower and things like that. So they just happen to have an accessible unit. And since I've been here, like one of the features I had at the Grange was an automatic door to get my scooter in and out and walker. So I applied for the same thing here, and they were able to put that in, no problem.
So your place is accessible and you're
It is, yeah.
downtown. How do you like living downtown? That's a big change from Stouffville, Ontario to downtown
yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah. I mean, being up in Stouffville, I come down to different, parties that DJs that I've had on my show, the Block Party. They would, have their events down in Toronto. So it was, I was, familiar with the downtown area, coming down here so many times. But now it's so cool that I don't have to take the to get, if you had to take public transit from Stouffville, it would take you about 2 hours to get to Toronto, because there's the GO bus or the GO train, and then you have to switch to TDC. So it ended up being a long trip. And now what I do is I just call an Uber, and I'm, at the club within 15, 20 minutes, which is not bad at all. And sometimes it was, and then, another thing is the traffic. So that was another eye opener, trying to get used to the traffic.
What? The traffic in Stouffville isn't the same as it is in downtown Toronto?
No. Yeah. So just trying to get used to that as well. But, an Uber is pretty handy. You can get an Uber, within 5 minutes or so, and, get to the club within, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost you $160 like it does from coming from Stouffville.
Exactly. Yeah, I did that one time, and it cost me $100 because I was, stuck. I missed the last bus, and so I had no choice but to get an Uber to take me back home. And before, what I would do is I would stay at a friend's place in Toronto, but a friend wasn't available at that time, so I had no choice but to take the Uber $100 back to Stouffville. So
wow. Well, it sounds like everything really worked out. I mean, I know you only got 5 months out of the program that teaches you independent living, but except that you were living in your sister's house and you had your own basement apartment, you were pretty much independent anyway. I guess
I was.
They did teach you how to make a few meals and things like that, but otherwise you were pretty independent.
I was, like, in a lot of ways, like, because you would have certain bookings with they call it an attendant, or some people might know it as a personal support worker, where they come right to your apartment and help you with whatever you need. And there's a lot of times that I called down and I said, I'm fine, I don't need an attendant today. So I think that made me realize that, I don't really need as much help as, what they thought I needed. Like, I'm glad they, were very cautious, thinking, maybe he needs more help than. But then as I got to be a part of the program, I found that, I was able to do a lot of stuff on my own. And like they would help me with the laundry. But since moving here to, my place now, I find I'm doing the laundry on my own. And I find if I just take my time and not rush, I'm not going to, fall and get hurt. And, I got all the time in the world to do these things. And I, considering my dialysis schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I try to schedule other activities on the Tuesday or Thursday, and so far it seems to be working out. So,
well, I remember once you told me that one of your goals for your life was that you would one day have your own place, and here you are with your own place. I think that's pretty admirable, and hats off to you, Jason. It's been a heck of a year, and I think you've come through it in flying colors.
I sure have. Like, I applied to this program because I've had other friends that were part of the program. And so, like my sister, I think one of her worries was, if something happens to me, like, where's Jay going to go? And even when my mom passed away back in 2011, I know friends were kind of worried about me, saying, oh, what's going to happen to you? Because they knew I live with my mom. And I said, don't worry, my sister's taking me in, and I'm going to be staying with her. So I stayed with her, since 2011, since my mom passed away. And that was her worry, that, if I get sick, just like my mom did, what's going to happen to me? So I told her about this program. It's called The Gauge, and I would be interested in applying. So we sent an email, and we didn't hear for a while. And then all of a sudden they got back to me saying, we would like to see you for an interview and come on down to, Toronto. And I was accepted to that program. And I'm really glad that, I did that program because I think, say if I was going from Stover right to where I am now, there's things that they did teach me at the Gauge that I'm glad I did that program for sure.
Yeah. So, what do you hope for 2024? What is your goal? I mean, you've accomplished so many of them in 2023. What's 2024 got for you?
Exactly. Well, I would love to, get off this dialysis. This is my second go around with this. I've been on it since 2019, just before the pandemic there. And so it'd be nice to finally get off this dialysis and get back to, doing what I was doing before, having more time for volunteering or, finding a job and that sort of thing. So that would be nice to, get the call. I've, put the word up for a donor, but, no living donor has come forward.
Let's explain to the listeners why you're on dialysis and what it is you need.
Why am I on dialysis? I'll tell you the first time around. So back in, the late 90s, I was quite sick. My family doctor thought it was a flu, and, he didn't do any blood tests or any, blood pressure, nothing like that, just to find out what was going on. And it turns out that, I found out that my creatinine was way up. I was, having blurry vision out of one eye, and they rushed me to the hospital not knowing that, because I've had a history of other health issues. So they're trying to rule out that, maybe it's one of those things that is causing this. And so they did a blood test, and they found out that my creatinine was way up to 705, which is way above what it should be. And my blood pressure was very high, 220 over 130. So I did dialysis the first time around for about a year and 9 months. And then my sister surprised me on my birthday, my 23rd birthday, back in 99, that she was going to, donate a kidney to me. So January 18th, 2000, she donated a kidney to me to free me from dialysis, the machine that was doing the work of a kidney to keep me alive. So, that was quite an emotional moment. And for 19 and a half years until, mid-2019, August 2019, that's when my sister's gift of a kidney finally gave in, and I would need dialysis the second time around. So, since then.
Now, is that pretty normal for a kidney to give out after, 20 years?
It is, yeah. Like what the original prognosis from the doctors was 10 years. And I thought, that's great, 10 years to have the freedom off dialysis and live my life. And so, I've always been one to, like even my cousin was telling me that you're always one to kind of exceed the doctor's expectations. I mean, some doctors said, you're not going to live past your teen years. And so it was quite amazing for, my kidney to last 9.5 years longer than, what the doctor said. And, I know of, we have some mutual friends that have, had a kidney for 25 years, so, a long time. But, from all the nurses that I've told at dialysis about my, how long that kidney lasts, they were quite amazed at how long it could last. And because there's other people that had similar health issues to me that were the kidney, it didn't last as long. But it was some people that really didn't take care of themselves. So like with me, I took things very seriously to take my medication on time and, show up for doctor's appointments and do the blood tests and everything. So I was, being so careful and, so for it to last, that long. But then I almost, lost it in 2015 after, having an ileostomy put in. So that was another surgery that I had. And I almost lost the kidney right after that. I had a bad infection. But they're able to recover the kidney and give me another 4 years to, from that. So, for it to last 19 and a half years, that's pretty amazing.
That's pretty amazing. And what a beautiful gift that was from your sister.
It sure was. Oh, definitely.
So for 2024, what would you like? You want to get off dialysis, and what does that look like?
Well, right now, like I saw my kidney doctor, the one that saw me all those years to get worked up for a transplant. So I saw him back in August. So from what he said, if I, to get put on the list, like meaning I would get a kidney from somebody that's passed away. So right now, since I've already, served my 4.5 years, it's kind of like a prison sentence in a way. But so he said it'd probably be another year or two. So it could be 2024. It could be maybe not till 2025. We'll have to see how things go. But I'm hoping, for 2024 for them to call me. So that would mean, to stop whatever I'm doing, get to the hospital right away, and they would prep me for the transplant. But I've already been through all a lot of the preparation already, like going to, for blood tests and all the different tests that they have to do to make sure that I'm suitable enough to get a kidney. So not everybody is lucky enough to get a kidney, but they said you're stable enough and, you could do this a second time around. And so that's one of they test you from head to toe, like physically and mentally. They want to make sure that you're mentally ready to go through with this. And so far I've gotten the all clear. And so my doctor said, yeah, maybe, another year or two waiting. But I've put the word out for a living donor, which is like what my sister did. And so far that hasn't worked out. So my backup option is for somebody that's, passed away. And it's quite unfortunate. I know we've had our Organ Donor Month series here on Freshwaves in April, and we've talked to some families that had to make that decision to, for their loved one to get off life support and donate their organs. So it's when I get the call, I'm going to be happy, but I'm also going to be sad because, family had to let go of their loved one to be able to give me this kidney. And,
right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Now, on that note, when we interviewed Toby Boulay after the Humboldt crash, and Toby Boulay is the dad of Logan Boulay, and Logan Boulay has he passed away in the Humboldt crash and spawned the largest organ donation extravaganza that's ever happened in this country because of Logan's generosity of making it clear to his family that he wanted his organs donated should anything happen to him. He gifted people with life and betterment of their current life. And as a result, thousands, like over 250,000 Canadians signed on to be organ donors because of Logan. So I think we should continue Logan's message, and that is to have the dinner time conversation, to have the kitchen table conversation where, these are the holidays right now, and people are getting together with a lot of friends and family. And not that you want to put a downer on what's going on, but it's a good time to let everyone in your immediate world know of your wishes to be an organ donor, even if you've already signed your card, or you don't sign a card anymore. But if you've already signed up online, make your family and friends aware of your wishes so that if there ever is this tragedy or a time when, everybody's sad and everybody's worked up, if they know your wishes in advance, it's much easier for them than trying to guess or go on a website and find out if you are or not an organ donor. If they already know, it's great. And if someone sees that you are an organ donor and you've signed on to be an organ donor, then perhaps it will inspire them to do the same thing. I know that I've told all of my family members that I wish to donate anything that someone could use. And yeah, my eyes aren't great, but they're better than nothing. And, my skin may not be as young as it once was, but it's better than nothing. And anything that anyone can use that I have upon my death, please give it to someone else who could use it. And once people know, they know. And sometimes it inspires a conversation and the sparks fly and you can see people, listening and thinking, well, maybe that is a good thing. But it doesn't hurt.
It is a very good thing.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. So if you have the opportunity this holiday season when you're with your family and friends, let them know of your wishes. There we go.
Exactly. And the more donors we have, the less waiting for me and others waiting for a kidney. I mean, I've been, waiting for 4 years now. So
for 2024, you're hoping for a kidney.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Coming off a big 2023 and, something even bigger than that is the gift of life, a kidney for me. So.
Well, I wish you all the best of luck with that, Jason. We have to take our first break here on Freshwaves. If people want to donate an organ to you, because there can be living donors when it comes to kidney donation, or if they'd like to find out more about organ donation in general, how do they get a hold of you?
So you can find me on Facebook, Jason Rumble. I also have a Facebook group, A Kidney for Jason Rumble, so you can join my group as well. And I go by Happy J Canada on all the social media. So you can, follow me on Twitter and Instagram and things like that, Happy J Canada. And be sure to tune into my other radio show that I'm a part of. I'm the host of Block Party with Happy J, Saturday nights, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Time right here on Whistle FM.
That sounds great. Now, you also have an email address, which is
happyjcanada@gmail.com. So remember Happy J Canada, and you'll be able to find me. So
Perfect. All right, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson, and today we're talking with Jason Rumble, and we're wishing everybody a very safe and happy New Year's Eve. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We're back on Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. Remember, if you'd like to hear any of the other Fresh Waves broadcasts and podcasts, you can go to our YouTube channel, Fresh Waves Radio. Hit subscribe. We love to have subscribers, and it helps to support us. We're all volunteers in community radio, so any support we can get by having you click subscribe is terrific. And that's one of my goals for 2024 is to maybe get this show on a platform where it can be heard more often, and something like Podbean or something like that, where you can go to all the different podcasts and just find us. And to get more support from people. I tend not to self-promote very much, but I think in this day and age where there's so many broadcasts and podcasts out there, and radio is so accessible anytime you want, any time of the day, you can listen to a show that you normally would have to set an alarm for and tune in. Oh, I want to listen to such and such a show, Fresh Waves. I have to be up on Sunday morning and listening at 8 o'clock to Whistle FM. Now these things are available whenever you want them. So that's one of my New Year's resolutions, is to grow my subscriber list for Fresh Waves and to promote the show a little more. How about you, Jay? Do you ever make any New Year's resolutions?
I do, yeah. And, one of the things with resolutions that, for a lot of things, it's hard to keep. But there's something that I, would love to do for 2024 is to... some friends of mine that I met through the block party, some DJs, I've told them that I've always wanted to do what they do and DJ. So a good friend of mine, he hooked me up with my own DJ mixer, and then I had another friend come down to my apartment here and bring me a speaker. So I would like to, practice DJing in my apartment here, and, hopefully get some gigs maybe at a club or, different events. I've DJ different events, in Stouffville, and a DJ at a friend's wedding, but it wasn't actual DJing. It's more just kind of clicking on the mouse and playing a song sort of thing. So I want to be an actual DJ where you're using the turntables and things like that. So I would love to, get some gigs, maybe, some of the places where I go to dance, I can actually be the DJ there. That'd be very cool.
Wow. Well, I hope you have good luck with that. I hope it all works out for you. It's fun that you can practice now because you have some equipment, and that equipment can be pretty expensive. So kudos to you and your friends for making that happen. That's great.
Yeah, no, that's very generous of them to do that. They had, some equipment that they weren't using anymore, so they heard about me wanting to learn how to DJ, so they thought, oh, maybe we'll give it to Happy Jay and he can practice in his apartment there. So
Perfect.
I'm
Now,
really
I hope your
grateful.
neighbors don't get mad at the, what do they call that music that you listen to?
Oh, the house music, yeah.
House music.
House and techno and things like that. So
Oh,
so
my.
far I've been, trying to be mindful of the volume and because a friend, I went to her place. She lives 10 minutes away, so that's another thing. Friends are a lot closer now, and so went to her place to practice, and she's got a rule at her condo that she can only DJ till 10:30. So I try to make sure that I'm not DJing in middle hours of the night. And
Well, you could put on headphones, couldn't you? And then people couldn't
I
hear
could,
it.
exactly. Yeah, I don't need the speaker. I could just DJ in my headphones, but DJs say it's probably better to, have the speaker there because when you're mixing and stuff like that, it makes for better mixing and things like that. So,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, so I try to, like maybe around dinner time after that, like I might DJ for a little bit, but not too much after, not into the late evening hours. So.
All right. Well, I don't know about you, but I tend not to make New Year's resolutions because normally I feel like I'm setting myself up for failure. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, my New Year's resolution is to quit smoking, and 3 years later they're still smoking. And
Right.
so it means that the resolution is just kind of something that you say on the night of and never follow through with, or that you really want to do, but then you don't do, so, oh darn, I failed again. So in a lot of ways, I don't make resolutions. I mean, making a resolution to promote the show more, I think, is a pretty low bar to set. We can go from 108 subscribers to 110, and I will have succeeded.
Yeah, 2 more plus 2, so that's pretty
Plus
good.
2. I'm there. Yeah. Woohoo!
Slowly but surely getting up there.
Well, you know what? I mean, like I said, I don't want to set myself up for failure. So I'd rather just do some thinking about things that I would like to do. For example, I would like to grow my guided forest therapy business. I do a business where I take people out into the forest and we do some processing through expressive arts. And expressive arts isn't just drawing or painting. Expressive arts is using the arts, whether it's drama, painting, graphic arts, collage, music, writing. Those are all the arts. And you use the arts to process what you've done in the forest.
Wow, that's very interesting.
It is pretty interesting. So I'd like to grow the business.
So what is guided forest therapy?
Well, basically, it's being mindful in the forest. And often when someone says to you, oh, well, be mindful of the world around you, you say, all right, there is a world around me. And they say, well, a little more detail, please. And you could say, well, there's houses and cars and people walking dogs. But when you do forest therapy, the forest has a lot of therapeutic benefits. Everything from the phytoncides that the trees give off to protect themselves from disease that we breathe in, and then it helps to protect us as well from the fact that being in the forest can lower your blood pressure. They now have in the York Regional Forest several accessible forest tracts, and that means that there's a base on the path itself that will allow a wheelchair or, in some cases, a gurney to be brought into the forest, and you can walk. They also have... so you can push a wheelchair. That also means you can push a stroller. And as a mother of 4, I can tell you that there are many times when navigating a stroller through the woods can be impossible. But with these accessible trails, it allows you to access the forest with your stroller or your wagon and make a family outing of it. It also means that you can bring your elderly aunt, uncle, mother, father, whoever, into the forest. And even if they have a walker, they can still navigate the trails. These trails also have seating. And they have seating at the bottom of a slight incline. They wouldn't have any steep hills on the accessible trails, but they have benches throughout where you can sit down, have a little break, and look at the forest around you. And then guided forest therapy in these instances, what it does is you go into the forest with a guide who can show you how to maybe see the forest in a different way, to notice the little things in the forest as well as the big things, to notice the spaces in between things that are in the forest, and then to hear the forest in a different way, to hear the different sounds, like to recognize a bird call. It's not a nature or ecology walk, so to speak. So you can recognize the sounds, but you don't have to go and identify which bird made which sound. I mean, those are for bird watchers who are pretty advanced. But you can notice that there are different songs and that the different sounds and songs of the birds are coming from different areas. Some are high in the trees, some are low in the trees, some are right against the ground. And it's really interesting to note, and it's interesting to notice how the birds might send out a different call when you first come into the forest, almost as a warning. You know, look out. Something weird and strange is in the forest. Oh, it's you. And then, so we look at the forest, we hear the forest, we feel the forest. You feel the air and you feel the wind and different elements of the forest. And you can even, in Ontario and in the York Regional Forest, you can touch the bark of a tree without much ado. I know I wouldn't do that in South America or Central America, but in this area here, you can touch the bark on a tree. Don't hurt it in any way, but you can touch it and notice the texture of it and things like that. And you can notice the texture of the earth beneath your feet, the sandy soil of this area in the York Regional Forest, and in other areas it's a bit more clay. And, you know, so you get to experience the forest with all of your senses. You learn a little bit about safety so that you don't harm yourself in the forest. And then we go back to a nice, safe environment that's warm and has a washroom, and we process what we have experienced in the forest. And that can be processing through drawing or painting. It can be processing through writing and then sharing our writing with each other. And it's amazing how inspiring the forest can be in your writing practices. Even authors who may be just experiencing a bit of a mental block or writer's block, or artists and painters who, you know, just for whatever reason can't do anything right now. They're blocked and they can't paint anymore, and nothing's inspiring them. An hour or two in the forest can really open up your creative pathways and allow you to express yourself through your painting or your writing. You can act it out, you can dance it out, you can do all kinds of things to help you process your experience in the forest. And that's what I do as a forest therapy guide with a background in expressive arts.
Wow, that's very interesting. Where I'm living right now, it's more of a concrete forest. So you know, Toronto is always commended as an international city with one of the most green spaces of any city. And we have, you know, High Park, we have all kinds of walking trails in the city of Toronto and through the Don Valley, for example, and there's biking trails and things like that. And if you need a nature boost, even going to a little parkette where there's something green and something alive is better than nothing. So if you, Jay, are feeling a little penned in with your concrete jungle, you could go and visit your sister down by the water and then, you know, look at Lake Ontario and see the water and feel the rhythm of the waves. You're very musical, so you'll be able to look at the waves and you can see them coming in and going out, and the rhythm that they make on a windy day, the ferocity of it, and then the calmness on a calm day, but there's still little waves lapping at the shore, those kinds of things. And then, you know, maybe when you're DJing, and I know that DJs often play with the tempo of music, perhaps those waves will inspire you to create a tempo that you hadn't thought of before. Right. Okay. Yeah.
You see how that could work?
That is very cool. How that could work.
It's really neat. So it's fun to take. I always say my company is called Twigs and Tea. And you can get a hold of me at bren@freshwaves.ca. But Twigs and Tea is the company, because we always finish our walks with a cup of tea. And it's a cup of tea that is made from indigenous plants. And it's a lovely way to finish the walk. And if anyone's looking for really nice herbs that come from here and are hand-picked, Algonquin teas have beautiful teas. And so that's how we finish the walks. So Twigs and Tea, Nature Connection, and Forest Therapy. And nature connection means that wherever there is nature, a lake is nature. An ocean and a beach is nature. When people go away on vacation, we do in class, we learn how to look at the ocean and the beach in a different way. How not to use it, but to become more a part of it. And when we're more a part of nature, we're more likely to treat it with respect. And when we talk about trees as it and plants as it, we tend to have a lack of respect for them, and we see them in more of a commodity way. And Robin Wall Kimmer, in her book Braiding Sweetgrass, uses the example of a mother in the kitchen, a grandma in the kitchen making soup. And language is so important to how we perceive things. So if you said, "Oh, look at it. It's standing by the stove. It's making soup. Isn't it lovely?" That really disrespects your grandmother.
It does,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's a gross way to think of talking of your grandmother.
Exactly.
You would say, "Look at her. She's at the stove and she's making soup. Isn't she beautiful? And isn't she loving and kind?" So that's a way you would talk about your grandmother making soup. If you are in the forest, you need to do the same thing. If you're in nature, you need to do the same thing. You don't say, "Oh my gosh, this sand is so hot underneath my feet. I'm burning my feet. Good God." You can think of a million ugly things to say, but instead, go to the water, put your feet in the water and say, "Oh, isn't this cool and refreshing? Wow, that sand really absorbs the heat, doesn't it?" And if you think about it, when lightning hits a beach, it can sometimes create glass. And South Carolina is famous for this kind of thing, and some parts of North Carolina. And it's beautiful, beautiful glass made by lightning hitting sand. Wow. If you've never seen it before, Google it. It's absolutely incredible. And people actually go hunting for this stuff, and some people actually encourage it. Don't try this at home. Do not put rods in the sand when you're on vacation in Mexico and hope that you're going to make glass in the morning. It doesn't work. The people who do it are well trained at it. But you'll see that some of them have created these beautiful glass pieces out of sand and lightning. It's fantastic. So we have a lot to learn from nature, and I think we're quite disconnected from the world around us, from the natural world around us in many ways. And it's easy to go for a walk in the forest. It's not so easy to be mindful in the forest. And so when you have guided forest therapy, it's great because you can see the forest, feel the forest, hear the forest, taste the forest in a whole different way. And it's a way that connects you not only to the forest and to nature, but to yourself. Because once we're connected with nature, we have a far greater understanding of ourselves. And that's super, super, super important.
It is very important, yeah. And going back to what you're saying about being near the lake, like during the nights of weather in the summertime, I would take my scooter down to Sugar Beach, which is a popular spot not too far from here, and then I would just park my scooter and look out at the ocean or at the lake there, and it was just so calming just to be down there. And I would spend a good couple hours just down there, and seeing all the people just out enjoying the nice weather, and just sitting there just looking out at the lake. And yeah, it is great therapy for sure. And
it's cooler down at the lake.
Exactly.
There's always a breeze blowing, and you weren't far off when you said the ocean. I relatives that came from Switzerland, and they said to me, "Mais c'est comme la mer. It's like the ocean. You can't see the other side." They thought it was fantastic that a lake could be that big that you couldn't see the other side. Exactly. And they're right. Lake Ontario is, I mean, I find Lake Ontario majestic. Yes. It's so big.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And do you get to see the island from where you are? Like, can you see Center Island or no?
No, it's more like, because my sister's just a little bit west, so she's closer to Center Island and the ferry dock, so I could probably see it from her place, but not from where I am, right now. And
so for you, it's vast open water. You don't see the other side.
No. Well, actually, hold on. As I'm talking to you on the phone, I can look out my window here. I see the, traffic on the Gardiner Expressway, and I can actually see there is another side that I can see. So where I am right now, it doesn't actually go on forever and ever. There's another part on the other side. So maybe that would be an island or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, you don't realize that Center Island is one of many islands. There's Ward Island and a number of islands out there. Lake Ontario has some beautiful islands all along its coastline, even going out to Picton area, and there's Wapoose Island. And these islands are beautiful and have quite a history, and many of them are inhabited. People live on these islands.
They do, yeah, which is quite amazing. And yeah, and I have a friend that she has a sailboat, so I would go down to her sailboat down on Lake Ontario, and sometimes we just hang out on the boat, or there's one time we took it out for a sail, and it was just so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then if you think of the fact that Lake Ontario leads into the ocean, that you can throw a stick into Lake Ontario and it has a chance of actually drifting out to sea.
Wow.
That's kind of cool too, right?
That is cool, yeah.
I don't know if you read the story when you were young of Paddle to the Sea when you were in school. We always read Paddle to the Sea.
No.
Yeah. It's about a little boy who put a stick in a river, and the river leads into another river, which led into a lake, which led into another lake, which led out to the sea.
Oh, isn't that neat?
Yeah. So these are ways that we can connect with nature and connect with the natural world around us. And they've done so many studies on the benefits of nature and the benefits of connection to the natural world. And a lot of parks now are starting to put in invitations, they call them, where they will there'll be a sign that tells you how to look or to hear and what to listen for and what to look at. And that's great. I mean, that's to me a great first step. And the next step is processing that and writing about it and moving like a tree moves in the wind and trying to mimic some of the things that you see and allegories. And then you learn little nature tidbits because it's a natural progression. And the more you learn, the more you will say, look at them, aren't they beautiful? And you're referring to the trees as if they are living, breathing organisms or entities, and they are. And we will respect them as that, and maybe we'll be less likely to cut them down without thought or consideration. And we will look at the natural environments as places that we can nurture and take care of. And then maybe we'll see you out at one of the tree planting things that's done by, one of the events done by Forests Ontario. Or maybe you'll become part of the Oak Ridges Moraine Land Trust, where, you're taking care of land that is protected. And, those kinds of things will add beauty and meaning to your life. And I think that's always a good thing, don't you, Jay?
It is a very good thing. And yes, we need to, support these organizations that you're talking about, the Land Trust, and we need to preserve as much forest and farmland and things like that as we can, because it's very precious natural resources that we have.
Yeah. And I mean, you've gone up north. You have, your family has a cottage up north. What does it feel like when you get out of the city and into the nature and you sit by the dock?
Oh, it feels so good. I mean, even more so now that I'm in the busy city, Toronto, like from Stouffville, sure, Stouffville, can be busy at times. So it was nice to escape from that and head up to the cottage. But coming from downtown Toronto to get up there, once you get up there and, just to, sit down by the dock or just to even look out at the lake and just, be surrounded by the forest. It feels so good to get up there.
It feels quiet, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't hear all the sirens and things like that you would in downtown Toronto. So yeah, it's nice and quiet, and you can actually think up there.
Well, it's interesting because when you sit down at the cottage or in a natural setting, and you think, oh, it's so quiet. But as you sit there, you realize it's not so quiet. There are birds. If there's a woodpecker anywhere in close proximity, you've got this bird that's pecking like crazy at a tree and sometimes can sound like a soft drill. And you've got birds flying overhead, seagulls squawking, maybe there's your neighbor's chainsaw, and you start to recognize these sounds. But when they're in an environment that's more natural, they come across as individual sounds as opposed to this cacophony of chaos that you hear in the city.
Exactly. It's much easier. It's much easier to hear nature up there than it is in Toronto, that's for sure.
Yeah. But, my daughter was living down in Walmer Avenue. Anyway, she was there because she was going to U of T. And They had a small parkette. And in the middle of this little parkette, you could see buildings on all sides of this, but this little green space that had grass and trees and shrubs and flowers. There were people doing Tai Chi. There were people just sitting and reading a book. There were others who were lying on the grass, soaking up the sun in the early spring. It was so nice to see how this little patch of natural greenery attracted so many people. And they were drawn to the nature in the middle of this hustle and bustle of a city. It was fabulous.
That is fabulous. Wow.
And I'm sure you can find the same down where you are, Jay. When the weather gets better, you can take out that scooter of yours and just go exploring for a park.
Exactly. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm sure it probably wouldn't have to go too far to, find a park. So I have a friend that she's been living down in this area for 26 years. I could probably ask her, where's the nearest park? And, we could go together to enjoy the park there. So
yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Okay. And actually, one of the things here, I'll make this resolution. In 2024, I will do a guided forest therapy walk in the York Regional Forest at one of the accessible trails. And that way, you and anyone else who has mobility issues will be able to join us, and we'll spend an hour in the forest.
Oh, that sounds very exciting. Oh, I'd love to do that because of all the time that I've lived in Stouffville, I never had a chance to do this. So this would be a great opportunity to do that. And
perfect.
Have you lead the walk there, that would be awesome.
All right. We will forge the way, my friend.
We will definitely.
Okay. Well, we're running out of time here on Freshwaves, which always happens when I have nice, interesting guests. Jason, I wish you all the best for 2024. I hope that this is the year that you do get a kidney. I hope this is the year that you get off of dialysis.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, I'm not wishing for someone else's demise. No. Perhaps you'll have a living donor.
Maybe somebody will come forward that I never thought of that, has been thinking about this for a while. Or, it could be, somebody that learns about my story in 2024 and becomes my donor. Because a living donor can happen a lot sooner than, waiting on the list. So that would be awesome. Either way, I'd be happy just to get off dialysis and, have more freedom in my life.
Yeah. Well, all the best to you and your family for 2024, and to all of our listeners out there. Thank you for supporting Freshwaves. We look forward to your continued support. You can always listen to us on Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. on Whistle FM. I know that's early, but hey, what a great way to start your day with a little fresh waves. Remember, one idea can change a mind. One thought can change a life. And that's what we're here to do at Freshwaves. We're here to introduce you to some new concepts and new things that you may never have thought of before, to introduce you to some new charities, and to make you perhaps see the world in a different way. Happy New Year, everyone. Hey, Jay, thanks for joining us today.
You're very welcome, and thanks again. Have a great Happy New Year to you and to all of our listeners here on Fresh Waves.
Thanks, Jay. Happy New Year, everyone. Be safe tonight.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot for old lang syne? For old lang syne, my Joe, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for all the lang syne. And surely you'll be your pints too, and surely I'll be mine, and we'll take a cup of kindness yet for all the lang syne, for all the lang syne, my Joe, for all lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for all the lang syne. We twa hae run about the braes and pulled the gowans fine, and we wandered many a weary fit sin all the lang syne. For all the lang syne, my Joe, for all lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for all lang syne. We twa hae paidled in the bow frae mornings until dine, but the seas between us brought it on sin all the lang syne. For all the lang syne, my Joe, for all lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for all lang syne. And here's a hand my trusty fear, and gives a hand o' thine, and we'll take a right good willy wad for all the lang syne. For all the lang syne, my Joe, for all lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for